So some people choose a lifestyle that they believe is the most ethical and least detrimental to these matters. Veganism is a philosophy that promotes avoiding consumption and use of animal products as practicable as possible. Although it's a lifestyle, like it really applies to like everything in your life, I'm just going to focus on the dietary aspect of it today. So why would people, including myself, commit to such a strict diet? So let's discuss how diet has a profound effect on 3 global issues. The first is animal exploitation, the second is human health, and the third is environmental destruction. To begin, I'm going to talk about animal exploitation. So according to Gary Yourofsky in his 2014 presentation of the best speech you will ever hear, 60 billion land animals and 90 billion marine animals are slaughtered each year because people pay to consume them. And animal agriculture is a business, so the goal of the business is to maximize their profit. And how are they going to do that? They're going to want to use their resources as efficiently as possible for the least amount of money. So when it comes to animals, they just don't really care about them. They're treated as commodities like, coffee and gas, instead of living beings who are capable of suffering. And they're just denied their basic needs and rights, as living beings, and they're forced to produce way more than they're naturally capable of. In Sean Monson's 2005 documentary, Earthlings, the corruption of animal agriculture is exposed through really explicit videos. So it just basically talks about how, say chickens, the businesses are trying to maximize their profits, so what they do is they separate them by sex. So you have your females and you have your males. The females obviously make the most profit because they lay the eggs, and that costs, that provides them money. Whereas the males basically do nothing for them, so they grind them up alive within minutes of being born. And dairy cows also get the worst bunch of it because they are forced to be hooked up to, well, first of all, they're artificially inseminated year after year, and then their babies are stolen from them, and then they're hooked up to these milking machines all day, every day, in these crowded conditions, and that milking of their udders just causes really bad infections. It's actually really gross because a lot of those are somatic cells that end up in your milk, and it's basically pus. So yeah. That's just a few of the many atrocities that occur in animal farms. All of the painful procedures dehorning and stuff like that happens without anesthetic because that would be too expensive. So the industry won't improve the conditions because it'll lose profit. And you might be wondering, how does this affect human health? So the way that this affects human health is it's basically the consequences of all of these foul living conditions. There's a bunch of waste that's generated from this, and a lot of it causes foodborne illnesses. And another effect on human health is diet-related diseases. So according to Leo Morgan in 2002, Environmental Health Perspective article, more than 75% of deaths from pathogens are caused by Salmonella, Listeria, and Toxoplasma. And the way that, the primary way that this affects humans is through the consumption of meat. And also animal products have been linked to diet-related diseases like obesity and heart disease and cancer. And the standard American diet is really high in animal proteins, and the average person actually consumes double the amount that they're supposed to. So a lot of the countries that don't eat a lot of animal products actually have lower incidences of all of these diseases that countries like the US and the UK have a lot of, because we consume more of those products. In John Corey's 2011 documentary, Forks Over Knives, he claims that most cancers are caused by animal proteins instead of genes. So what that's basically saying is that, all these diseases that are diet related don't run through your family, meat, dairy, and egg products run through your family, because that's what all of you like tend to eat. You know, you tend to eat what your family eats. So, again, the countries with the least amount of consumption of this have lower rates of that, and it's actually been shown to possibly reverse like some of these degenerative diseases. So, now that you're aware of how animal-based foods can affect animal and human health, I'm going to talk about how the average diet affects environmental well-being. So, according to EcoPlanet, which is an online blog post from OneGreenPlanet.org, nearly half of the global land belongs to animal agriculture. This causes about 51% of greenhouse gas emissions, a third of the depletion of the Earth's fresh water supply. Like, think about that number, a third. And it also causes massive habitat destruction. So living in California, you know, I'm sure you're aware of the drought. You know, they're always trying to get us to like push ways of like, oh, use water more efficiently. But have you ever thought of like the root cause of the drought? So Americans consume about 100 billion gallons of water, whereas livestock consumes 34 trillion gallons of water. And a hamburger, like if you just eat a hamburger, like if you go like to the Habit or something, that utilizes as much water as taking a shower for 2 months. So yeah, a lot of science, like I'm sure you've heard the phrase, save water for the fishies, but you should save the fish instead, because 116,000 pounds of waste is generated per second in the United States, and a lot of that waste ends up in our oceans, and that causes water pollution. And another bad thing about like our oceans is overfishing. When they're catching fish, they can't tell, you know, what fish they're going to catch. They're going to catch everything that comes in it, like sea turtles, all of that goes inside of it. And because of that, along with the pollution, it's estimated that, like scientists estimate that we're going to face fishless oceans by the year 2048, and that's not very far away. And yes, that means no fish in the like water, because we're catching way too fast and they're not able to reproduce naturally. So yeah, another thing about this is habitat destruction. So deforestation is a process in which we clear out rainforests so that we can grow crops to feed animals that we eat instead of feeding 800 million hungry people. So yeah, it also causes a lot of species to go extinct. And yeah, so as a review, I'm going to recap some of the things that I talked about. So the first is our diets can have a direct effect on animal exploitation, and it basically just supports a cool industry. It also affects our health, and last, it affects environmental health. So I just hope that you like start to realize the effect of your actions and the sustainability of it, like whether it's sustainable or not. So